If you read the word problem on number 1, you discovered that, or looked at the graph, that you have a loan. And so apparently you're paying the loan off because this is monthly payments. So when you pay it off, that's your x-intercept. So the x-intercept of 60, which represents the number of monthly payments needed to repay the loan. So it's going to take 60 payments to repay the loan. How many years is that? Y'all know? 12 times what is 60? 5. That's a 5-year loan. So the max on car loans is either 5 or 6 years. And of course, the longer you pay on it, the more upside down you are. Number 2. What'd y'all get? So what does the 320 represent on the graph? So don't you start at 320? So $320 is what he got paid for 40 hours. And so after that, so the 320 ends up being the y-intercept. That's your B. And so then after 40 hours, you make $12 an hour for how many hours? So if you have a max of 60, how many overtime hours did you work? 20. So 60 minus 40 equals 20. And then you take that 20 and you multiply it times what? Times $12 an hour. What's 20 times 12? So the mental math without a calculator, 10 times 20 is 200. And 2 times 20 is 40, so it'd be 240. And then what do we have to do to that 240? Add it to what? What did you already make? 320. And that gives you the 560. So your y-intercept should be at 320. So that omits H and J. So it can't be H or J. And so is it F or G? So at 20 hours, you should be above 500, and that one is below. You didn't make enough. Knowing what you should make, is that something you need to know if you have a job? Yeah. Okay, number 3. What'd y'all get?
G.
Okay, so how would you do that calculator? Place N with the answer choice. That would work. Or you can do, put the left side in Y1. And so I did hear mostly the correct answer. And then instead of N, you're going to use X. So 0.5X minus 3. Close the parentheses. X minus 0.25. Open 12 minus 8X. And then you can do the intersection or just look at your table because you know where to look. So second graph. And let's see, I can see 0. At 0, does it match? Is my y values the same? No. And at 3, you have -6 and +6. So let's look at our negatives. And -15 was our other answer, so -42 and -48. But at -9, you have -30 and -30, so your y values match. So -9 is your answer. And if we want to see that one by hand, I can do that after. Okay, number 4. You have 2 equations. So, one equation is what's our quantity? So you have 68 and $6, and then 8 cents and 15 cents. So, how many copies did we make? 68. So that is our quantity equation. So our quantity equation, what two types of copies we're going to make? Black and color, black and white and color. So our quantity equation, and notice most of them have it. So is B plus C equals, is it $6 or 68? 68. Okay, so that eliminates A and C. So, answer choice B says color copies cost 15 cents. Answer choice D says color copies cost 8 cents. Oh, no, that one's 15. 15 cents for color, and this one is 15 cents for black. So what's correct? Which one's 15 cents? Color. Color's 15 cents. Right there. So, is B correct? No. The answer is D. And your units are the same. So this is money, money, money. So this is your money equation, and this is your quantity equation. Okay. Number 5. What'd y'all get? Anytime you see a table, where can you go? What can you do? You can go to stat. And if you don't want to go to stat, you can go to, could you put those in y equals and see which table matches? Yeah. And so either way will work. What did y'all get? F. I agree. F is your answer. Number 6. You have a y-intercept at +4 and what? -4. This one has a -4 and a -2. So is F a possibility? No, we got a y-intercept of 4 and -4. So F is not a possibility. Neither is H. So let's look at, so our choices are G or J. So both of those, you can graph them and see which one looks the same. And let's see, our +4 has what kind of slope? Is this slope positive or negative? Positive. This one has a positive slope. So when the y-intercept is 4, should this slope be negative? No, it should be positive. And so J has to be our answer. So if you graph J, and y equals x plus 4 and -2x minus 4, you can visually see that they cross at almost -2, and you can of course see the 4 and -4, and you could look for those points they have listed. So you could go to your table and you have -1 and 3. Let's see. So -1 and 3 and +1 and so +1 and 5, so both of those are there. -1 and -2, -1, -2, and then -4 and 4. So you could check the points on the table. And J, of course, is correct. Questions? Okay. Number 7. So right here is your first equation. So what does large candles represent? X or Y? X. Because right here, large candles are X. So it's going to be 3x plus what? 4y equals what? 64. So if you don't write your equation down before you start looking at your answer choices, you can easily get confused. So from that information, what can we omit? Can we omit anything? A and B, because if we move the 3x over, they're going to end up being negative. So A and B get omitted. Okay, in our next sentence, at the same store, the second person paid $4 more. So if they paid $64 the first time and they paid $4 more, how much did they pay? $68. And how many large candles did they purchase? Or what's the price? At the same store, they paid $4 more and they got how many large candles? One. So 1x or just x plus what? 8y. And so now what's our answer? C. And of course we could have stopped at the 68 because the other one had 60. Okie dokie. Number 8. Okay, so we've got multiple numbers. We have 7 inches, 12 inches, and 140 inches. So when you have 3 of the same units, those 3 need to go together in one equation. So 7 what? X or Y? X. Because 7-inch plate is your X. So 7x plus 12y equals 140. And so that is 7 inches, 12 inches, and 140 inches. Okay, and then what? We've got one more number. What do we do with it? The diameter of all the plates is 15. The diameter of all 15 plates. So the diameter isn't 15, you've got 15 plates, and that is called your quantity equation. So if we have a quantity equation, we're going to have, what 2 things do we have in our quantity? X and Y. So X and Y equal 15. So what's my answer? Yep. Okie dokie. Number 9. So, for me, the first sentence was a little bit more complicated than the second sentence. So the second sentence, they wrote a total of 46 songs. So if they wrote a total of 46 songs, then what would your equate? What 2 things do we have? Drummers and guitarists. So that would be our quantity equation. So they add to equal 46. So this is your quantity equation. So drummers plus guitarists equals 46. Okay, what can I omit? So guitarist versus drummer. So if you add the 2 together, they should equal 46. So that's okay, because 2 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 2. And drummers plus guitarist equals 46. Does G or H have that? No. Okay, so I can omit those 2. Now let's go back to that first sentence. Or actually the second. The guitarist wrote 8 fewer than twice the number of what? twice the number of the songs that who wrote? Drummers. So what are we going to multiply times 2? So which one has 2D? F. And the were 8 fewer, and so that's why we subtracted 8. So yes, the answer is F. So again, if you don't write your equations down, then all you do is look at it, you could easily miss it. Number 10. Number 10 we did together, correct? And we did, but we had a few of y'all absent, so we'll go through it real quick, plus I'm recording. So they give you one equation, y equals 0.75x. And so you look at your graph, and the graph has that your standard ticket is your x-axis. So x equals your standard ticket and y is your discounted. And so the other equation they give you is you have to get the numbers out of the problem. So you have 153 standard tickets. So 153, what? Standard tickets are x. So 153x plus the 47 discounted, so 47y equals the 2,649.34. And to be able to put this in a matrix, it has to be in standard form. So standard form is AX plus BY equals C. So the x and y have to be on one side and your constant has to be on the other. So I either need to move the y to the right or the x to the left. Both would be correct. What do y'all want to do? So that would make it, if it's positive over here, what's going to be on the other side? Negative. So negative 0.75x plus y equals, if you move it over and nothing's left on that side, nothing is 0. So in your matrix, you're going to put the number, the coefficients of x and y, and your constant. So, clearing, so second matrix, go to edit, and remember when you are starting, the 2 and 3 is not going to be there. So you have to add that. If I reset your calculator. So 153, press enter after each number. And 2649.34. And negative 0.75. And then when there's not a number in front of the variable, the number is 1. Oops, I didn't press enter. And then 0. So once you get them all entered, you do second quit. Then go back to second matrix, math, and to B, which is RREF. And then you have to tell which matrix you want it to solve, or to reduce, actually. Second matrix A is where that is. And so we end up with our ordered pair is going to be 14.07 and 10.56, rounded to the nearest hundredth, because they are money. Okay, what is our solution? Is it 1407 or 1056? So the first thing you might want to do is read the question. So find on the word problem where it has a question mark on the end. And it says, what is the price of the discounted ticket? There's your question mark. So which one's the discounted ticket? X or Y? Y. So our answer is Okay, number 11. So, remember when I told you that it would be helpful if you could find the x and y intercepts quickly? This is one of the reasons why. So, how many of you want to put all these in a matrix and solve? Anybody? Oh, it's difficult. So, x and y intercepts, you just cover up one of the variables and solve for the other. So let's look at J. J has an easy x and y intercept. So answer J, look at that first equation. What does x equal? So if you cover up the y, the x intercept would equal what? 10. And the y intercept would equal what? 10. So looking at the graph, do we have one that has a y-intercept of 10 and an x at 10? No, we don't have a line going through that. We don't have a line going through these two numbers. So J cannot be it. Okay, so H, look at that first x-intercept. So x-intercept for H would equal, on that top equation, negative what? Negative 18. Are one of the lines have an x-intercept of negative 18? No. H cannot be it. So G. Y-intercept and would be what kind of 6? Negative. So you have a negative in front of the y, so you have to divide by the negative. So you have a negative 6. Do we have a y-intercept of negative 6? No. G cannot be it. So our answer is F. So this one has a y-intercept of negative 2. That works. And an x-intercept of 2 divided by 3. So 2/3 is less than 1. That looks good. And then x-intercept of 36 divided by 4, which equals what? What's 36 divided by 4? 9. And we have a x-intercept of 9 and a y-intercept of 36 divided by 4, of course, is, 36 divided by 9 equals 4. And so that one works. So could we put this in a matrix and solve? You could. You could solve for y on both of them and put them in and graph them. But x and y intercepts is your faster way to omit answers. Questions? Okay. Number 12. Okay, 12 you could do the same way we just got through doing with the x and y intercept. But let's go ahead and run it through matrix. So turn your calculators on and put it in a matrix. So once you've done a matrix once, you can copy it. You don't have to do the math again. So second matrix, and go to edit, press enter, and then go down until you get to your first number. And so what's our first number? 8, and then negative 4, negative 16, 3, 15, negative 6. And you're just pressing enter after each number. And then what's next after you enter it? Second quit. Okay? And then you can either go up and grab it or second matrix, go to math, and I'm going to come around and check your answers. And then second matrix, A. And then press enter. And so what'd you get? Very good. So which one's your answer? Good. You got it? Did you get it? Working on it. And then 7 inches.
J made a second.
Yeah, they're mad at the second. I'm not doing that same time.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so everybody got -2 and 0 as their answer for their matrix. So -2 and 0 is right there at B. That one's at +2 and 0. That one's at 0, -2. So when x is -2 and y is 0 is B. And of course the other method would be to find the x and y intercepts of both. Okie dokie. 13. Okay, which graph has no solution? Well, so what has to be the same to have no solution? Why would they have no solution? Because they never what?
Intersect.
They never intersect. So the whole thing that we're finding, when you solve by matrix, you solve by graphing, you're finding the intersection. So if they never intersect, they should be parallel. So which one's parallel? D. Okay, 14. What did y'all get? Okay, if you haven't gotten that far, then plot the 2 points that they give you. So -12 and 20. So you have to be at -12 and 20 at the same time. So x is -12. So go over to -12 and then up to 20. And so about right there. And then 4 and 12. So if we connected that line, would those two lines ever intersect? And they definitely wouldn't intersect at a point that we can see, correct? Because we can see 10 and 5 and 0 and 14. So therefore, they have to be parallel. So their solution is no solution. Okay, number 15. You can't see the shading. And I think I gave that to y'all on Wednesday, but your shading is here and here, and then this region and this region. Okay, so let's talk about the origin. So if I put the origin in, what's the coordinates of the origin? 0, 0, 0. So if I make x and y 0, then the top equation would be 0 is less than 1. And the bottom would be 0 is less than or equal to 2. Is that statement true or false for both? Is 0 less than 1?
Yes.
Yeah, 0 is less than 2. So that's a true statement. So since that's a true statement, should my origin be shaded? Yeah.
Yes.
So which 2 can I omit? Is the origin shaded on B? No, it's shaded over here. So I can omit B and C. Okay? So now I only have to look at two graphs. So let's just look at the dashed line. The dashed line should be, my x and y intercepts for the dashed is, what? Yeah, it's going to be A. The x-intercept is 1 and y-intercept is 1. So this dashed line should be graphed at 1 and 1. And this one is not. This one has the x-intercept of -2 and +2, which is the other equation. So my answer is A, just because of the dashed line. Okay, so why is the solid line, which is the one that equals, why is it shaded above when it says it's less than? Anybody know? Okay, so the equation is x minus y is less than or equal to 2. So if you solve that one for y, you would move the x over, and you would end up with negative x. And then what would be my next step? How do I get rid of the negative in front of the y? Opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we're going to divide everything by -1. And when you divide by a negative or multiply times a negative, you have to flip the inequality. So negative and negative ends up being a positive x and a -2. So that is why on the solid line, you have your y-intercept at -2, you are shading above and not below. Because when you divide by a negative, you have to flip that inequality. Okay, and then lastly, you're just going to give some examples. Of course, everybody's answers should be different. So your original function is f of x equals 3x plus 5. So give one example where g of x equals a function that has no solution. So for it to have no solution, what has to be the same? So to be no solution, they never what? They never cross. So if they never cross, what has to be the same? They have to have the same slope. So your example could be 3x minus 5, 3x plus 2, 3x plus 10, 3x plus 8, anything other than 3x plus 5. So for it to be one solution, it can be any other line. So it could be just x. X plus 1, x plus 2, 2x plus 3, negative 2x. Anything that does not have the same slope. So to have no solution, they have to have the same slope. And then to have two solutions, what kind of graph would have it would have to cross twice, right? So a graph that would cross twice would be something like this. And this is our new unit is quadratics, so x squared. So x squared has a U shape. So if I have y equals 3x plus 5, and that one, if you go up, change your window and go up, you will see that it's going to eventually hit that other side. So let's change that to and went up to 30, and you see how many solutions do we have? 2. So any quadratic is going to hit that line somewhere twice. So anything with x squared. Okay, and then lastly, why would you have a solution of infinite many solutions? So no solution, because they have the same slope, and infinite many solutions mean they are the same one. So if they share every point, they must be the same what? Same line. Very good. So to have the infinite solution, it's going to be the same line. So an example of that would be, say, x plus y equals 2. So 2x plus 2y equals 4. And then to add to it real quick, your matrix, the special matrix. So if you have a solution, it should say 1, 0, and 0, 1. And this will be your x solution, and this is your y solution. To have no solution is you will end up with one of them will be 0, 0, 1. And then infinite is 0, 0, 0. So if you don't end up with your 1, 0, and 0, 1, something is wrong. Stop and look and see if it either has the same slope or it's the same line. So solve them for y and you'll be able to check that.